Welcome to the Munchkin Minute, your bi-weekly look into some tabletop gaming news and more. I'm your host, Dan, the board game manager. News for the end of May 2025. Just want to say happy Memorial Day in the United States. I hope everyone has had a great holiday weekend here, and I hope we are all remembering all who lost their lives, protecting our great country and providing the freedom we hold so dear. And I hope everyone has gotten to play some great games over this long weekend as well. A very, very light week as usual for the last couple of weeks, as news continue to have that little lull right before the main glut of con season with Origins right around the corner. But first up, let's talk about, like we do every year, let's talk about the SDJ, the Spiel, the Jahres, and the KDJ, the Kennerspiel, the Jahres. They were announced this week, and that's basically the game of the year, which is the regular game of the year for the SDJ, which is game of the year in Germany. Kind of more of generally your family weight games and kind of the lighter games is the SDJ, and then the KDJ, which is now kind of your enthusiast game of the year. And we'll talk about both of those, as also including the recommended list, which is just kind of like your honorable mention. So first up in the SDJ, the German game of the year, Bomb Busters by Hayashi and Cocktail Games, and then Flip 7, which is a great game by Eric Olsen and the Op Games. That's a good game. It's very, very light, kind of very bar type game, or very light family weight game, Flip 7, where you're trying to just flip over as many cards as you can without having a copy or like a repeat number. So there's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and it goes up to 10. I believe it goes up to, is it 10 or 12? I think it might go up to 12. But anyway, you're either going to, on your turn, as it goes around the table, you're either going to go ahead and hit or, get a card or stay, and then you're banking all your points, trying to be the first person to get to 200. But again, you don't want to have any duplicates or else you bust out of that round. Very, very good game. Very quick playing game. I love those, again, I love those, cool little card games that you get. And then the last one is Krakel Orakel by D7 Bazis and Freckerlag. I have no idea about that game. Then there's the recommended list, which includes games like Agent Avenue, Castle Combo, Cities, Foxy, Perfect Words, and The Animals of Baker Street. Now, the games that I usually kind of concentrate more are kind of the KDJ games, because those are more of your, normally not necessarily your heavier games, but they call them kind of like the hobby games. They do tend to be a little bit heavier. But they all vary very, very much from like lighter, heavier to heavier games. I know that sounds really weird, but I think you know what I'm talking about here. So first up here on these three games is the Endeavor Deep Sea. This is by Carl De Visser, Jarrett Gray, and Burt Island Games, and also here from Grand Gamers Guild. This was one of my top games. I think it was my top 5 of last year. It's really, really good. Kind of good. I wouldn't say heavier Euro, but kind of that medium weight Euro. And it's got a lot of replayability, a lot of different, different ways to play the game, kind of different, those setups and the scenarios you play really do a great job of varying the game. Faraway by Jonas Guppy and Corentin Labrat and Ketchup Games. Faraway, the second game here, this was on my list 2 years ago. I guess it just got the German release. You see this a lot in these type of games. And these lists every year, as there are games that just didn't get released in Germany until a few years after their release here. And that's why you see them on the list a little bit later, because they have to have a German release. Now, Faraway, another great kind of tableau building game in which you're drafting cards and then trying to make a score. But what you do is, as you're drafting them from left to right, after 8 cards are kind of drafted, you're then going to be scoring them right to left, basically last to first, in trying to get different combos or using different symbols and completing different ways of scoring. Great game, absolutely great game. Very I wouldn't say very light, but a very more of a family weight game. Almost feels like an SDJ game, but I guess it just has that one extra level of complexity. And then Looot by Charles Chevalier, Laurent Escoffer, and Gigamic. This also feels like an SDJ game to me. I guess it has that little bit more of that, but 3 great games. And recommended games in a KDJ are The Gang, which is amazing and should be in the regular list. It's so good. Everybody just go pick it up. This is basically the cooperative Texas Hold'em. It is so much fun. It is one of the greatest games ever made. It's so good. Just go ahead and pick it up. Kari, Medical Mysteries NYC, Emergency Room, and Zenith. I don't know many of those other games, but The Gang is great. My picks for both of these are going to be, my early picks here are Flip 7 for the SDJ, and then Endeavor Deep Sea for the KDJ. Some good lists, some good games on that list. I like most of those as it is. So fresh off that KDJ nomination for Endeavor Deep Sea, Burt Island Games has announced a Kickstarter will be forthcoming for the expansion Endeavor Deep Sea Uncharted Waters. Now, what that brings a few different things. They say pushes players to the edge with challenging new missions, undiscovered depths to explore, a whole new team of specialists, which is kind of who you draft into your tableau, looking to join your crew and make an impact on the world. Players also get to incorporate new mini expansions, tasking them with saving endangered aquatic wildlife, exploring deeper depths than ever possible, and restoring the fragile balance of the marine ecosystem. It's got 4 new scenarios in this expansion and interesting phenomena such as tectonic split, which divides the sea in two, and the fog, which blankets the surface in a mysterious mist. Each of the 4 scenarios, which are include unique components used only in that scenario, which is new development not found in the original game, as those scenarios kind of did a little bit more and kind of had things that were included in a lot of those. But real solid there. I'm really looking forward to that little bit there. Now, Arcane Wonders, I talked about this all the time, where we had the dual version or the solo version or the roll and write. Arcane Wonders is releasing a quote-unquote dual version of Aquatica, a game I absolutely love, a good deck-building game I love. This is called Aquatica Duellum. That will be in July of this year. Should be about $45. They say you can be the Turtle King or Squid Queen and improve your underwater realm by playing action cards and assembling locations on 3-layered boards. After decades of turbulent times, it's time to unite the underwater world under the fin or tentacle of a single ruler. So it should be a really good push and pull way of playing Aquatica, and should have that same kind of gaming system, I would assume, of kind of, a bit of, has the tucks. That's why it's triple layer board. You'll have that tuck and then pushing them in. Pushing the cards in, and also kind of the deck building as there as well. After a recent Kickstarter success, Leader Games has announced they'll be releasing, I believe, is their 5th expansion for Root, called Root, the Homeland expansion. This should be out later. It's interesting because I keep saying all sorts of information for this particular one. So I think it's late this year. Should be in Q4 or early next year, depending on how the Kickstarter gets probably delivered. And possibly some copies at Gen Con. And it looks to be about $50 or $60. You're going to get 3 new clans for Root in this one: the Lilypad Diaspora, the Twilight Council, and Knaves of the Deepwood, to add to your ever-growing list of people to play in Root. Let's head on over to the Adam Spotlight. I've got 2 more great people and channels that I got to spend some quality time in St. Louis. I guess it's 3 people because one of them has 2 people there. I got to play in St. Louis in this past March at Adam 2025. Tabletop Bellhop Moe and his lovely wife Deanna have been doing this very insightful channel. Kind of a channel, podcast, reviews, demos, a little bit of everything in there. And they do a lot of stuff at cons as well. They've been doing it for a long time. And part of that kind of elder statesman of content creators like I am, who've been around for 10 plus years, and they've been doing a lot of great stuff. So if you want to see a bunch of good coverage of million games, they're put out stuff every day on their channel, and good follow on Facebook or even on any of the socials. Basically any social there is out there, you'll find them on there. And of course, a great Instagram channel, YouTube channel, anywhere, like I said, there's media, great and varied types of games that they do cover as well. And next up in the Adam Spotlight is another great lady in the game coverage landscape, Laura from Obsessed with Board Games. Another one of those great fun follows on Instagram. She does an amazing job showing new board games and giving unique insight into those games. I had the pleasure of playing a real ton of games with her, spending a lot of time, good banter, good trash talk. She's a lot of fun to play games with, and just I wholly recommend wholly and highly recommend you give her a good follow on Instagram. I'll have links to both of their channels in the show notes as well. I've got one digital board game hit here. Direwolf Digital has released an expansion for Clank, an expansion pack for Clank on Steam called Clank Sunken Treasure. This was, I think, their first expansion way back when for Clank. It's kind of a smaller expansion, but you've got, they say the dungeons are flooded, offering daring thieves new underwater maps to explore. They have the pirate ship map and the seaside castle, 35 new cards that go into the deck, and tools to, with new threats and tools to overcome these threats. What's cool about this digital releases, they have a lot of cool challenges and achievements you can unlock. And there's 9 new challenges in this release and 11 new achievements to test your skills. I'll have a link to that one. I really recommend. This was a great version of Clank and a lot of fun to play, especially solo. I've got a blast playing this one. Few hits here from crowdfunding. You probably remember me mentioning it a while back that it was coming soon. Battle Monsters from Restoration Games. This is Battle Monsters Godzilla vs. Kong. This is the Titans from Legendary's Monsterverse collide with Battle Royale, feature over-the-top action and epic scale. Got about a week to go. Obviously, well funded here. There's a few different ways you can get into just the couple of packs where you've got Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, the Kong vs. Mechagodzilla. Then you've got a big bundle where you can get into for $300. This is a really cool system. Again, kind of a updating of the old system, Battle Master system, which is a lot of fun in the way that the game is played and the way that it kind of does the whole initiative system. It is really good. This game is going to be a ton of fun. Highly recommend getting this one. Again, it's a little pricey, but you're going to get a lot for that money. So if you've got that money, it's well worth getting in on this one. But a really cool set. And Restoration Games is well known for putting out a lot of great games and just putting out great kind of table presence, and their quality of the games they put out is amazing. Next up, Rewild South America. This is kind of a system, kind of a game system or a game, because they put out Rewild a while back, and they've got a few different expansions. This is a self-contained expansion, I believe, called Rewild South America. Bit of a, that kind of has that Ark Nova feel and kind of the animals and nature feel to it. The game's a little bit different. It is still kind of a medium weight Euro in which you're trying to string, kind of a tableau builder as you're exploring the hexes out there and being able to uncover different animals and then score them as well. A pretty cool game. This one you can get in for about $74 US. And you could also get Rewild and Flow with some stretch goals and untamed. This is one copy of Rewild with all the stretch goals and where you have the Untamed Rivers, and then Rewild and Flow are 2 independent games. They're 2 different games, but you can get in that one for about $98 as well. But this is a solid game that I think everyone should check out as well. Next up, this was a cool game I saw at Adam. A couple of guys were playing this at Adam. Somebody had gotten an early copy of it, and they were playing it. This is a flick, kind of a dexterity flick game called Catch 33, a unique dexterity dice ramp game. You're sitting on each side of kind of a little board. It almost has this almost like a basketball-looking board with kind of the way the wood looks like. And in the middle, there's a cup, and you're kind of flicking your die into this middle board and then getting it into the cup. This is created by Keith Smith. This is only gets you, I think it's only about $20 to get in on this one. Or it's like that's the early bird. It might still have some available, or $33 for Catch 33 to get in there, or you can get 2 copies of the game for $58. Only have a few days to go on this one. I'm sure there'll be late pledges, but you'd want to get in on this one pretty quick. And finally, today I've got one from GameFound. This is a newer version of Trismegistus, which is a heavier weight Euro game, which was really good. Game by Board and Dice. I've got that and played it. It's really fun. I really do kind of enjoy kind of the way that you play this game. Just kind of the way a lot of things go in together. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a kitchen sink, but there's a lot of stuff going on in this heavier weight Euro. A really cool kind of alchemy theme. But this is a new special edition by Board and Dice that you can get in on for about 67 euros. And there's also a roll and write that you can get in on. I don't know if that one's been out for a while, if that's fairly new, but that's also in there on the campaign. What they've done, they've kind of streamlined some of the art and some of the graphic design in this Trismegistus to make things, play a little bit easier. Not necessarily make it lighter, but just plays a little bit easier and flows a little bit easier for people that may not know the game. But it is a pretty solid game. Got about a week and a half to go for this one, for the Trismegistus new special edition, again, for about 67 euros. Thanks for joining me today. If you see any news you think I'd like to feature, shoot me a message at GeekJockDan on Twitter, and you can also find me on Instagram as well. And also, please check out Majorspoilers.com for more great content with Steven and the rest of the Major Spoilers crew. And check out the Geek All-Stars podcast as well. That's my show I do a couple times a month. We had a new show a few weeks ago, and we'll have a new one coming up next week. We'll have a new show on there. As always, I'm Dan, the Board Game Man, and I hope everyone has another great couple of weeks, and we'll see everybody for the next Munchkin Minute.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.